Sinonge. It's a few minutes past 5 in the morning. I'm walking Tembe. There she is on her leash. And, oh, wait a minute. There's the moon. I don't know if you can see it. We're walking in one of our neighborhood parks. It's very hard to see out here. And Tempe is very excited and she's pulling me along, and I'm feeling a little bit of out of breath. She's a Doberman, and I remember not too long before my late brother Khotso passed away, he asked me to keep her for 10 days. And I was like, sure. And he brought her over to the house. And she bounded through the front door. And I said, oh my God, she's a horse. I don't know. It was weird. I mean, I'd spent time with her before at his house. But when she was in my house, she was really, really excited to explore the new territory. And she ran up and down the stairs and all over for about 20 minutes. I was like, oh my God, what if I sign myself up for? And I don't know, sometimes I feel like that's how I feel about life, where I'm like, why did I agree to this? I could have stayed where I was. Anyhow, I fell asleep really, really early last night. I don't remember what time. Maybe it was around 9. I'm not sure. Could have been 8:30, but I was absolutely exhausted and I was in pain. Like, I don't know, it was like paralyzing pain from head to toe. And I just went to bed and I couldn't understand, like why I was feeling that way. And then I kept waking up because I was having these nightmares. And no, I don't want to get too much into the nightmares. All of a sudden I'm feeling really vulnerable, but I was having these nightmares, and basically the gist of my nightmares was I was having the thoughts and the feelings of many people I know who are scared out of their minds today, and have probably been feeling that way for the past 4 years or more, but increasingly these days because of the election. And I got it. I got them. I understood. And I'm telling you, to have those thoughts and feelings constantly it's like living in a nightmare you can't get out of. And what that gave me was this level of empathy that I hadn't had before. Because it's like being in a really, really scary place, in a place of darkness. Like right now, I'm walking my dog. I really didn't want to take her because I knew I'd wind up sounding very out of breath because she's very excited and she's pulling me along. But, this darkness that I'm in right now is a metaphor for the darkness of the souls that so many people all around the world are in right now because of their perceptions of reality. I've done a bunch of videos. I've written about it, about how we're in the midst of the fourth industrial revolution. And it means so, so, so much more than just the installation of these new technologies that, who knows, they might be very ancient and they're just being introduced for all we know. I mean, think about it. Look at all of those ancient temples and sites all over the world. It's obvious that we human beings are living in a very primitive state compared to how our ancestors did, who knows how many thousands or possibly hundreds of thousands of years ago. So, okay, I'm gonna let her off the leash. Tembi, stay. I'm just gonna let her be free. Hold on. Stay. Say hi to the camera. I don't think anybody can see. It's still too dark. Stay. Release. And off she goes. She looks like a horse, I swear. Anyway, so the fourth industrial revolution is far, far, far more than bringing these new technologies in and having technologies that used to be the thing of science fiction. Do you have the ball? Can't even see. The thing that used to be science fiction actually be part of daily life. Okay, here's the ball. One. Do you see? 1, 2, 3, go. Anyhow, it feels, I don't know, it's frightening. It's frightening. And we're being basically told how to feel about the world, how to feel about life, ourselves, other people, how to relate to the world. We have been forced to adopt new ways of being and living and relating to each other that I think are anti-human and inhumane. And this is all in service of the machine. My morning walk yesterday, I was talking about how I think the language of forces of love versus forces of fear are far more accurate to describe what we're experiencing in our lives. I mean, when you're in a place of light or enlightenment, it's easy to see the lay of the land. It's easy to see the details. It's easy to see how things relate with each other. It's easy to see the past and to see the potential consequences of our actions. But in the darkness, it's very difficult to see. That's so crazy. I was actually looking at something in the distance, and I thought it was my dog, and it wasn't. And then she came from another direction. See? It's really easy. Well, actually, forget about talking about the easy stuff. It's difficult. It's really difficult to see what's true and what's real. Who are the good guys and who are the bad guys? But guess what? There aren't any good guys or bad guys, because we all have both good and bad in us. And moment to moment, we can be the good guy or the bad guy. And that's a choice that we make. So there have been times and places in history all over the world where there were a group of people and they believed that they were the good guys. And they had all of the evidence that they were the good guys. And maybe they had some sort of technological, their tech was superior. And they demonized the people they declared to be the bad guys. And so when they, tried to exterminate them or annihilate them, they really believed that they were doing a good thing. Because the people they said were the bad guys, they had projected their demons onto those people, and then they acted accordingly. Because what do we do with the demon? We destroy it. Okay, I'm squinting my eyes. Who is there? Kevin. Oh, hello. Hi, Kevin. It's so crazy. I cannot Oh, interesting. I woke up early, heard this. Thank you for being on. Oh, it's so funny. I'm squinting my eyes because I can't read everything yet because I'm still in the dark. And the on my screen, the words, everything is super blurry when I try to read the words on my screen. I can't even tell. I think I thought I was pointing the camera outwards, and it's actually, hello, good morning. I'm glad you're listening. I was saying that I woke up early because I went to bed early, but when I went to bed, I was like just racked in pain from head to toe, and then I had a bunch of nightmares, and my nightmares were basically I was experiencing other people's thoughts and feelings, and I was experiencing their inner darkness during this time that seems troubling. But I liken this time to when, well, I'll talk about my garage right now. My garage is a mess, and it's very difficult to move around in. And about 2 or 3 times a year, I do a major clean out. And then that's an opportunity for my kids to put their stuff. They're like, oh, there's space. But yeah, it's time for me to clean out my garage, and I feel like the whole world, we're being forced to clean out our garage together. But we need to understand some things about ourselves and the nature of being human, and we have both light and darkness within us. We have love and fear within us, and we have a choice over whether we live our lives in surrender to love, or if we give ourselves over to fear. And there's a big distinction between surrendering and giving oneself over, because I believe very strongly that when we give ourselves to something, there's a part of ourselves that knows. We know right from wrong. We know the right thing to do. We know the right attitude to take. And so when we give ourselves over to fear, there is some aspect of ourselves that knows the truth, and then the part that when we surrender ourselves, give ourselves over to fear, it's because there's an aspect of ourselves that is enjoying the fear, or wants it, or is addicted to it. I just turned the camera around. Well, I'm taking my time this morning because I wonder if you can see the stars. I wish I had a better camera. The stars, I can see them. They're really quite pretty. I don't know. I'm just walking around with my dog. She's off the leash. We're in a park. I've been writing and making videos about my perspective of reality, and I've come to the conclusion that everything that we fear happening exists. Everything that we're afraid of is real. And we, individually and collectively, are literally constructing this world and keeping it held together. So, I'll give an example. If I fear a whole group of people, or a whole nation, or a whole religious group, and I fear them all, then I have reason to fear, because that construct that I hold up in my mind is real to me, right? It's got nothing to do with them. It's not about them. It's about me. It's about my demons. my personal demons. And so that's how we get into trouble. Because if you can imagine, hello moon, if you can imagine, well, we can imagine, that's all we do, don't we human beings? We imagine the world as we are. I hear some froggies. It's crazy, like around my house. There's so many frogs around my house, and we have these like big fat, I don't know if they're frogs or they're, what do you call them, toads? No, they must be toads. They look like Mr. Toad, and they're around my house, and they come out every so often, especially after rain. And one day, I actually took a video. There were 6 of them hopping along the fence, but one day my daughter called me in a panic because our dog, Tembi, had put one in her mouth and spat it out, but then she started foaming at the mouth. Poor thing. But then the next time there was another one, and she tried to do it again, and I had to, like, no. She listened to me. Thank goodness, even though it would have been amusing to see her foaming at the mouth, I mean, knowing that it wouldn't kill her or anything. But some of us, we don't learn our lessons. I'm just rambling right now. After my brother Khotso passed away, I can't think of anything. I don't have the words to describe how I felt, but it's like I was living in 2 realities or dimensions, because on the one hand, I was grieving like every normal human being, but simultaneously, I was experiencing this peace, this indescribable peace all the time. And I thought, well, I'm going to go back to normal. I'm going to go back to being, that Inonge I used to be. This is just something weird because I'm mourning, and, it's going to go away. Well, I think until last night, it didn't go away. Because up until last night, every day I felt more peace, more joy, more wonder, more excitement, more compassion, more empathy, more understanding, more and more and more. Every day I felt like I was walking around in life in this bubble, this like little bubble of heaven that just embraced me all the time. And I'm not saying that like I was a perfect human being, because sometimes my kids would irritate me, and I had a couple of arguments with my kids about stuff, and I'd get like irritated and tired and grumpy. But it's like there were flashes in the pan. They just never lasted. But my general way of being was just happier and, more peaceful. And I could look at everybody and anybody, and I could really, really see them for who they are, not for the story they're captive of, not for, any of that. I just saw them, and it's like, I feel like when Khotso passed away, he gave me his eyes, because for years he'd been trying to educate me. He'd been trying to help me see, and I just couldn't see, and I just couldn't forgive, and I just couldn't let go. And I had all of this resentment and anger and pain and blame and all of that. And then when he passed away, like he literally, it's like he gave me his sight. And I still have it. I still have it, but last night I was able to see what other people were seeing. I really was. I was able to feel what other people were feeling. And, I had compassion, but my compassion and now my compassion is far, far, far deeper. I have so much compassion for everybody who is... Hey, Teresa. Good morning. Good morning. It's so good to see your name and that you're watching. Thanks. So yeah, it's like I have more compassion and more empathy because the past several days, and especially like up until yesterday. First of all, I hate Facebook, but I use it, and I hate politics. If there's anything I hate, like truly, truly hate, it is politics. But I'd read posts from people that I really, really care about, and people I've known, some of them for decades, and one-on-one, like they're the sweetest, kindest people. And I really, really love them, and I have so much affection for them, and they're just normal. But then when they speak about, they write about politics from their view, and it's just like that pain, the fear is running them. And I'm, I'm reading the posts, I'm, kind of bothered. I'm like, I don't get it. What are they so afraid of? I don't get it. I get it on the one hand, but the words that they are using are so hateful, so angry. They are salacious, they are judgmental, they are, stereotyping. I mean, everything negative. And I don't know, it just kind of took my breath away, but sort of more in a mental way. But yeah, I went to bed early because I was in pain from head to toe for no particular reason. I'm going down the list of the things I did, and I'm like, was it something I ate? Was it something I did? Did I exercise extra hard? Did I push myself too hard? Like, what did I do? Why do I feel so... Why am I in so much pain from my head to my toe? I feel like I'm 101, And so I went to sleep, and then I had these nightmares, and I was having other people's experiences, and then it made sense to me why I was in so much physical pain. I've had conversations with many, many people, and we're talking about how this political fight that we're having right now it's not just political. It's spiritual. It's like this, we're in a massive, massive war, and it is a spiritual war. I mean, of course, all wars are spiritual because everything physical first manifests. It starts in the spirit, but this is on an entirely new level. And, there are forces that are using us, or they want us, or maybe we're food for them. I don't know what, but gosh, guys, I mean, we have to understand the power of words. We've got to understand the power of words, and the power of words to literally construct our realities and influence our perceptions. I'm thinking about the span of time, or of recorded history, or of the recorded history that we actually have access to, and even recent history, say the 90s, the Rwandan genocide. How did it begin? On a physical level, how did it begin? Well, it began with gosh, I don't even remember people's names, but basically a radio station. And this Hutu guy who thank you for the ball. 1, 2, 3, release. who on a radio station said, the Tutsis, they're cockroaches. You know, they're bringing our nation down. They're evil. They're stupid. They're bad. They're depraved. They're dirty. They're filthy. They're not humans. We can have a good nation if we get rid of them. That's how it began, with words, you know. You know, the power of life and death is in the tongue. And we're living in this, you know, secular society that denies, like on the one hand, we deny the spirit world, but then on the other hand, we believe in radio waves. And, you know, and we're using all of this technology that is powered by this kind of intangible, non-physical energy. We don't believe in the spiritual world. We don't believe in the spirit world and the non-tangible world, but we have thoughts, you know. Where do our thoughts come from? Anyhow, I'm going to keep rambling, and, you know, people will come on and off. It's cool with me. I don't know. I'm recording my thoughts because, you know, what happened to me last night was so profound. And then I woke up this morning. I woke up and I was wide awake, and then I sat up. When I sat up in bed, it was exactly 4 a.m. And in my mind, it was already 7. And I thought, well, I'll just sit in bed and I'll meditate. But I know that Khotso, he wanted me to see. He had given me his eyes, and he wanted me to see deeper, and I did. I understand the pain that people are feeling, and my message is, you know, our internal world, each one of us, that's reality. Each one of us, you know. I'm the only me that ever was and ever will be, and nobody can experience reality the way that I do, you know. I mean, there are people that I can have a lot of things in common with, but really, yay, nobody will ever experience reality the way that I do. And we're living in this world where, like I said yesterday morning, we don't look to the sun to know what time of day it is. We look to, I don't know, we look to the Black Mirror. That's who we look to tell us what is reality and what's going on in the world and who people are and how we ought to think about them. Isn't that incredible? You know, it's like technology is our master. And we're in service to it. Well, actually, we're in service to the people who control the technology and the message. But, you know, we have these ideas. We have these crazy ideas now in this, I don't know, God-denying society that we're in. Like these crazy ideas, you know, that we should be and think like the people who look like us. And we should behave accordingly and be punished if we don't, because, you know, like maybe we don't have souls, or we don't have individual souls. We're just these amoeba, amorphous, you know, what is it called? Blobs? Like, I don't know. Right now, maybe it's because it's early in the morning, the air is fresh, and I feel kind of crazy right now. Crazy in a good way. You know, like I'm not attached to anything in particular. Crazy. That's so crazy these days. But, you know, just the notion that somebody far, far away who doesn't give a damn whether I live or die, has these ideas for how I should be in the world, me and you and all of us. And, you know, they control the media, and they present certain people in very particular ways, you know. They classify and segregate us. And we don't believe in Satan, do we? But what are some of Satan's names? And Satan, I'm talking about a force, right? A force of fear. The fear that is, you know, gives birth to hatred, resentment, jealousy, anger, paranoia, suspicion. That's what I'm talking about, the force. You know, so this force that, you know, has a name and has a persona in every religious system. This force, we'll call it Satan or the devil or Beelzebub or whatever, you know, has different names as well, or titles, like the segregator, you know, the accuser, the destroyer. You know, I'm talking about that energy, that like conglomeration of thought forms. Let's see. Yeah, thought forms that are the products of fear, right? And we have, each one of us has a choice whether to give ourselves over to that or surrender to love. And oh my gosh, thank goodness I could fall on my knees right now and put my hands to the sky and say, I am so glad that the force of fear has its limits every time. It has its limits, you know. Bring them on. Oops. Let's see. Yeah. I mean, I'll just say evil has its limits, because when evil is embodied in other individuals or groups or institutions, you know, it's the nature of evil is to devour, you know, it's the devourer. It devours and it destroys, and once it's devoured everything around it, you know, the ones that give themselves over to it, those who are left standing want no part of it, and they put a stop to it, and then it turns on itself. It turns on its allies. It and its allies are together in that place, and they turn on each other. So, oh my gosh, thank God. You know, it has its limits. Anyhow, what we're going through right now, this battle between, as I say, good and evil, or the battle between love and fear, is expressing itself through politics right now. And we have to know how to separate the wheat from the chaff. We need to know how to separate the story from reality, you know, the marketing, the branding from the reality. So how can we know what's real? I mean, what's real is what is alive inside each one of us. That's what's real. What's real is the thoughts and the feelings that we entertain and nurture and embody and share and push out there. That's what the reality is, you know. So what's alive in you? Is pain alive in you? Or is love alive in you? You know, is judgment, is condemnation, is blame, is hatred alive in you? Or is forgiveness, compassion, empathy, morality, ethics alive in you? Is it alive in me? Well, I will tell you, last night, um, the fear was alive in me. Um, it was very much alive in me. And it first manifested as physical pain. And then when I closed my eyes, I was literally the people who are living in fear. I was having their thoughts. I was having their feelings, their emotions. I was seeing the world as they see it. And I needed to see it. I needed to. We're being told by media that, the bad ones, those are the bad ones. Those are the bad ones. But guess what? If you read the Bible, I'm most familiar with the Bible. But if you read the Bible, if you read holy books of other traditions, they all speak about, I just lost my thought. I looked at the sky and I lost my thought so I'm pointing to the east. The sun rises in the east. I'm pointing to the east and I can see where the sun is beginning to rise. And I was like, ah. And I tell you, my thought was actually profound. But oh my God, so traditions, great books, it'll come back to me, don't worry. So anyway, I had this experience last night, the nightmares, like actually experiencing what so many people are experiencing, because their construct of reality is, I'm not trying to say it in a bad way, they haven't taken responsibility for their lives. And so their construct of reality that is being given to them, they are accepting, as opposed to saying reality begins with me. Reality, I'm the only one living my life, and I am the most important person in the world because I'm the one living in this world. And, I choose how I feel about people. I choose how I perceive other people. So, for instance, talk about perception. I'll give a real world example. I am a Black person living in Mississippi, for example, and it's in, say, the 1950s. And no, I don't want to go back there, because let's just say, we're living in our time right now, and we can look at the past, the segregationist past. We can look at the past history of this United States, and Mississippi is probably the most notorious example of racism, white supremacy, hatred, segregation, Jim Crow laws, And there's so many different angles that we can look at it from. We could say, well, I'll just give like one or two examples. One example is the KKK are all evil people. They're evil, always have been, always will be, and look at the evil things they did. Another perspective is the KKK members had been indoctrinated into hating and fearing, first fearing, because, fearing, hating, despising, loathing, and wanting to destroy Black people. They, it's not like these feelings and thoughts were innate in them. They weren't born with them, but they were indoctrinated into believing that. Well, how were they indoctrinated? They were indoctrinated by media, by the school system, by their, faith communities, by their family members and their friends. And they dare not, leave. And so here's a group of people who felt in their hearts that they were doing a good thing by lynching black businessmen. They always went after like the black men who were involved in politics, say, like they were maybe, well, they were, at the time, they were Republicans. They were involved in politics. They were in medicine and law and science, and they built institutions, and they were educating people. But these KKK guys, they really believed that they were removing the scourge of the earth. But that belief is not something innate to them. I hope you're tracking with me. This is what I'm talking about. They're evil, bad. You know, evil is alive in all of us. We all have the potential to do evil. And the most dangerous thing is for us to not believe that we have the potential. The most dangerous thing about us human beings is that especially when we don't understand spirit or have a spiritual foundation, we really, it doesn't occur to some of us that we ourselves, we can very easily be the Nazis, we can very easily be the KKK people, and it's not about color. It's not. Why is the sun taking so long? It's just taking too long to rise. Anyway, it's getting better. Maybe I'll keep the camera over here. There we go. But so after Khotso passed away, I was living in this amazing, oh, somebody else. All of the books that I'm trying to read this. I'm squinting my eyes. We'll speak about how the good are divided and light against each other. I don't know. Okay, I'll try to read it. Thanks, Kevin. I'll try to read it later. I just can't right now because it's. Oh, I'm trying. I'm still. Yeah, you're right. It is. I know. It like the. I think the sun is supposed to rise. Yeah, it's supposed to rise at 6. You're right. You're right. I'm just impatient. I'm just feeling really impatient right now. I'm sick and tired of walking around in the dark. It's getting boring. It's getting boring out here. Anyway, so yeah, like I know that when a critical mass of people get to the point of like understanding and the point of peace, that like, yeah, I'm human. I have a dark side and a light side. And, I have a side that cannot see everything. And when I can't see everything and understand everything, because I'm in the dark, then I get scared and I get defensive. And, everything that moves out there is a potential threat. And, I see the media as like literally keeping us in the dark and keeping us in this fear state and giving us more and more reasons every day to hate to hate people and censoring our speech. And I've spoken about this before, how you can speak freely about a subject one week and then the next week it's taboo. And then the control mechanism to, shut you down is to, call you names and laugh. And, we can choose to give into that, or we can surrender ourselves to love. It's a choice. It's always been a choice. Always. This is so good. Tembi's going to be so worn out today. Um, but yeah, I can't think of anything more powerful right now at this age that we're in than authentically being who you are. You know, if you feel like you're in love with the world and in love with everybody and you can just see who we really are, express it. You know, don't be afraid to look corny. You know, don't be afraid to come off as weird, or crazy or anything like that, because it just seems to me that over the decades and increasingly, um, we're expected to be like automatons, or, you know, we are cyborgs already, but to just believe what we're told to believe and don't ask questions. And how dare you ask questions? You know, there's a whole lot of who do you think you are going around. And I was like, I don't think I'm anything. I mean, I know I'm alive. Yesterday morning, I woke up with the thought, because I was really, you know, like, I'm like, I can't believe, you know, the media is doing it again or whatever. There are all these messages, and you know, these people, so and so said this, and what they meant was so and so said that, and what they meant was, you know, that kind of stuff going on. And then I was like, how dare they tell me who I am? I don't even know who I am. I wish you guys could see. This is so beautiful. Ah, there it is. I'm zooming. Ah, wow, that's gorgeous. Look at that. Que bonita, que linda. Oh gosh, it's gorgeous. Now I'm gonna get a cramp in my arm because I'm trying to hold the camera over there. I'm a human tripod and it's getting painful already because I'm out of shape. But you know, it's crazy. Like, the more deeply I think about it and I meditate on it, I'm like, wow, there's actually like a group of people who tell us how to experience this world. And the more control that they try to take over our minds and our souls, then, you know, like the smaller our world becomes. And then we have fewer words, and then we have fewer metaphors, and we have fewer stories to make sense of everything. And with the fewer words, or we can't talk about certain things, then we like numb out to other people's pain, and we numb out to what's really going on, and we even numb out to our own joy. And you know, okay, I can't do this anymore. I'm switching to the other arm. Yeah. But yeah, so I get it. I get the fear. I get it. I totally get the fear. And I just want to say the fear is a choice. Huh? What's happening? That's so weird. I get the fear, and I just feel like that's no way to live. You know, we've been tricked or conditioned over the decades, especially with television. You know, we've been indoctrinated into relating with each other in ways that are not good for human beings, you know? Okay. Come on, son. Let's see. So I'm at this park, and there are like soccer fields over here. I'm turning around, and then there's this other area. It's like a tiny little green belt area that I like to walk in, but it's like there's some narrow paths between some trees and bushes, and if you can't see where you're going, you could get hurt, so I'm not going to walk over there right now. But, you know, when it comes to control over our minds and our souls and our perceptions and our relationships with other people and all of that. Something to keep in mind is, like, say for instance you had a friend that you really trusted and you did everything together, and then a new kid, like you're a kid, you're a child, and a new child comes to the school and they seem to be pretty cool, and it's like you seem to have a lot in common, but your friend, your longtime friend, keeps, for whatever reasons, maybe jealousy or they're a control freak, they don't want you, or they're just afraid to lose your friendship or lose control over the friendship that you have. They say that this new kid is, a terrible person, and makes fun of them and calls them bad names, and, it's like runs interference all the time. And you have a choice. You can, like, decide, I'm going to be friends with whoever I want to be, and I'm going to like whoever I want to like, or you could give in to your longtime friend's fears. And then, that's a whole lot of potential and happy memories lost, and experiences and all of that. So a good way to measure and evaluate who's got good intent towards you is to, like, feel their energy, feel into the words that they use. Do they use destructive words or edifying words? Are they able to recognize the good in other people? I'm talking about the media, guys, you know that. It's very divisive. I think the media is the devil. And I mean, it's like part of it is just the model, the money-making, model, where in the United States, their revenue is from advertising. And so the newscasters are not just going to say, this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened. They're going to, they're vying with each other for views, right? And so the more salacious the headline, the more likely people are going to watch, or they're going to, click or whatever, and keep coming back, because that's just how we're built as human beings. We're much more sensitive to potential danger than we are to when things are going well. There's so many things to parse out, but we're all human beings on this planet, or even more specifically, we are spirit having human experiences over here in this place, wherever in the universe we are, really. And to me, it doesn't matter whether I don't give a damn whether this earth is like a ball, or it's flat, or it's a donut shape, or whatever. Who cares? You know what I mean? I really don't care. I don't know why people fight about that stuff. Maybe for some science models, Earth being a globe makes sense, but then for other, like more spiritual, esoteric models, Earth being flat or like a dome or something, it doesn't matter to me. I really don't care. And I've said it before, we could be living in like a magical Harry Potter-esque reality, or we could be living in a very, what is it called? Secular, what you see is what you get, mechanical reality. Yeah, mechanical. I really don't care. I really don't care, because this physical stuff, all of this physical stuff, will die, or will change. Will change into something else, but spirit and our souls are eternal, and what's important is our relationships with each other, and us taking advantage of this opportunity to grow and experience and give and receive love and solve our problems and leave this place a little bit better than how we found it when we got here. I mean, that's what's important. That's real. That's the reality. The immaterial, non-physical reality is the true reality. And the rest of all this, it's Maya. It's illusion. But when we don't understand that, like really, really know it and experience it, and understanding first comes with the words and then the experience. But if we don't first understand that, then number one, we're easily manipulated. Number two, we can actually live a hellish and have a really horrible experience of life easily. And being in this physical world is hard enough, Speaking for myself, I get too hot, too cold, then I get too comfortable and I get bored because I'm too comfortable, and then that's uncomfortable, I get hungry, thirsty, sometimes sick, achy. There are all these things that I have to do that I don't want to do, and I don't enjoy them, and I think they're crap and they're stupid. And then I deal with annoying people, and I get annoyed with people, and like every day I have to compromise and negotiate and, tame these little demons that live in me so that I can get my job done or hold my temper, And then I think about my legacy, I think about my security and security for my kids and their educations, and I need more education. And I think about all the hardship that's going on in the world and the people who are suffering, and I can do nothing about it. There are all these concerns over here in this physical world. And then on top of that, I'm expected to feel like I'm a victim because I'm black. On top of that, I'm expected to walk in this world as if there's a target on my back. Life is difficult enough. My ancestors don't want me to feel sorry for myself. They're like, yay, Nage, go, do it. Yeah, take advantage of this. That's who my ancestors are. But we're given this false doctrine. It's being shoved down everybody's throats right now. And what does it do in the name of, unity, in the name of diversity, in the name of dismantling white supremacy? It's psychologically abusing everybody. And at the end of the day, it's actually creating resentment, suspicion between so-called races, because, there's only one human race, but you know what I mean. It's a false doctrine. There is this, in the Kemetic, the Egyptian system, there is this god. His name is Sebek, or Set. And he's the Anubis, so he has this dog head, right? And before communing with the other gods, you have to go through Sebek. Sebek, he's at the crossroads. He sits at the crossroads, and he's a trickster god. He's also the god of the underworld. In Christianity, we call him Satan, and also the devil. So anyway, he's always there at the crossroads, at our own crossroads in life. Do I go this way? Do I go that way? Do I take the high road or the low road? Do I hold on to my resentment and unforgiveness and anger, or do I let go And do I say, forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do? You know, do I embody love? Do I surrender to love? Or do I give myself over to fear? So over here at the crossroads is Sebek, the Anubis. He rules the underworld, and he can take you down there. He can take you down to hell, and he's a trickster. And just like everything evil, he winds up in the process of trying to destroy you. He always winds up hurting himself. So, like he's like the coyote, you know, in the Roadrunner. The coyote goes around, he sets up traps, you know, more and more elaborate each time, and he's like, yeah, I got the coyote now, and then poof, just blows up in his face, you know. So that's one aspect of Sebek. It's a kind of, you know, the humorous, like, you know, when people use words, but they don't have wisdom, you know. So they're big words, people who use big words, you know, and they're so highly educated. They may have, you know, 2 or more degrees, and they, you know, they're of the, you know, the educated classes, you know, or, you know, the people who create, they create laws, and they try to enforce mandates for the good of everybody. And they create these policies that affect the lives of millions or hundreds of millions or even billions of people. But they don't have to experience they're never on the receiving ends of their policies, because, you know, they are the elite and they're the smart ones, and they know everything because they have this book knowledge and they have these big words, but their heads and their hearts are not connected. You know, they're the ones who say that, you know, 2 million people are going to die. They are the ones who, you know, they have these projections, these computer models of what's going to happen. And, you know, they mandate that the world be shut down, but because their heads and their hearts are not connected, and they're not at the receiving ends of their policies, then, you know, millions of people die of starvation. But they feel nothing, you know. You know, Sebek is very much alive in them. You know, they have data but no wisdom. You know, they have knowledge but no love. They have science but no common sense, and they look down on the salt of the earth. They look down on people who don't have their degrees and their education. They look down on the people who are not set apart like them. They have God complexes, and they play God with our lives. That's what I'm talking about. That's Sebek. So, like in the Kemetic system, if you want to commune with the God, you have to go to Sebek first, and you have to, you know, your ego, your ideas about life, your segregative words, your, you know, pompous attitude, you lay it down at Sebek's feet. It's like you have this heavy, heavy backpack, and with all your bullshit in it, you know, that says, I know, I'm wise, I've got the knowledge, you know, lay it down. Because, you know, that stuff in your backpack, I'll speak for myself. That stuff in my backpack, my burdens, my arrogance, you know, I've got a university degree. I've traveled the world. I know. But, you know, the thing is, this is so crazy. Listen to this, guys. Yesterday, a friend sent me a video of truckers. I don't know what state it is, but these truckers are striking because they're pissed about the election. And they're striking. They're like, we're not going to deliver your food to the grocery stores unless you get on this. And this is why. I know why they're pissed. They're pissed because their class of people, you know, the blue collar people, the people who build things and fix things and grow things and, you know, they plant the seeds and they, you know, they harvest and they produce and all of that, have been demonized, have been dehumanized for years now by the mainstream media, you know. They're looked down on, you know. They're looked at, they're depicted as stupid, backwards, ignorant, uneducated people who don't want to move forward, they don't want to progress, they hate technology, they're trying to take people's, you know, rights away. But guess what, guys? We are utterly, utterly dependent upon them, their labor, their expertise, their knowledge of life and death, their knowledge of the seasons, you know, their knowledge of science, not their belief in science, but their true, actual knowledge of science. You know, we don't know what it takes to, grow animals, nurture them, what it takes to slaughter them, process them. We don't know what it takes to grow food. We don't know what it takes, but see, that's sebek, our arrogance, you know, our arrogance, because we know stuff in our heads. So, Tembi, okay, I'm gonna walk in the opposite direction so she follows me and gets herself out of trouble. But that's it. It's like we're, as a society, we're sick. We're spiritually sick. You know, we're going through number 4, technological revolution. This time around, who knows how old humanity actually is. We could be billions of years old, and this is just yet another cycle we're going through. But, oh, Tembi. Okay, hold on. I'm going to throw this ball for her. Oh, she took the ball away. But, you know, we don't know this. It's like we're, oh, I'm trying to read this. Not sure why I woke up this morning. YouTube. Thanks, Kevin. But yeah, it's like we literally have a spiritual sickness. You know, we live in this world that says, if you achieve these things in life and you get these titles and you get the house and the car and you limit your kids to like 1.5 kids and, you have the degrees, then,